Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is early February 2026.
Run around that time of year again.
Exactly. The playoffs are history, the matchups are set, and we are staring down the barrel of, the absolute biggest Sunday of the year.
But we're not here to talk about the point spread.
No. We are leaving the sports analysis to the dedicated sports channels. They have that more than covered.
Sure.
We are looking at the Super Bowl, and yes, I'm saying the name right now, but we are going to get into why that's actually a bit dangerous in a minute. We are looking at it as this massive multi-billion-dollar legal fortress.
It really is. It is. Well, it's arguably the single largest intellectual property showcase on the planet.
And we are working from a source today titled The Intellectual Property Playbook for the Big Game. And the mission really is to strip away the pageantry, the cheerleaders, all the confetti, and look at the invisible game.
And one being played by the lawyers.
Yeah. We're talking trademarks, copyrights, publicity rights, all the machinery that actually monetizes the whole spectacle.
And the stakes are just incredibly high. I mean, we aren't just talking about rule following for the sake of it. We're talking about protecting asset value. The NFL, the networks, all the brands, they treat these IP rights as assets that are just as critical as the stadium itself.
So if they let a leak spring in that legal dam?
The value just drains out. Fast.
Okay, so let's get into it. And we have to start with the most obvious weapon in the arsenal.
The name.
The name. Super Bowl. Just 2 words. We say it so casually, but for businesses, it's like Voldemort.
The name that shall not be spoken. The forbidden phrase.
Why is it so forbidden, though? I mean, I see it in texts from my friends. I hear it at work. Why is this specific term like the most policed trademark in sports history?
It all comes down to a concept in trademark law called genericide.
Genericide. That sounds violent, like the death of a word.
It is for a brand. I mean, think about words like escalator or thermos.
Aspirin, right.
Aspirin is a perfect one. Those used to be specific brand names owned by companies. But they became so common, so ubiquitous in everyday language that they actually lost their trademark protection.
So they just became the generic word for the thing.
Exactly. Bayer lost aspirin because everyone just started calling any old pain pill aspirin. And the NFL is, well, they're absolutely terrified of that happening to the Super Bowl.
Because if Super Bowl just becomes a generic term for, the final football game of the season.
The NFL loses the exclusive right to monetize it.
So if they let every local bakery, every car dealership, every dry cleaner run a Super Bowl sale, then the term stops meaning the official championship of the NFL.
And it just starts meaning a football game in February. Precisely. They have to defend that border vigorously. The source makes it crystal clear. Super Bowl is a registered trademark. The NFL polices it to prevent what's called dilution.
Okay, so let's break this down. Let's say I own a local pizza place. Not a massive chain, just a mom and pop shop on the corner. I put a chalkboard out front that says, "Get your Super Bowl pizzas here." Am I really in trouble?
You are walking right into a trap. And a lot of business owners think, oh, I'm too small to matter. The NFL has bigger fish to fry.
But they don't.
No, the NFL has a reputation for being incredibly litigious here. If you use their trademark to promote goods or services without a license,
Which cost millions, I assume.
millions, by the way, then you are infringing.
So what happens? Do, the SWAT teams show up at my pizza place?
Not quite SWAT, but you will almost certainly get a cease and desist letter, and it will be stern. The source indicates that businesses advertising Super Bowl parties or giveaways are, squarely in the danger zone.
They must have people just looking for this stuff.
Oh, yeah. They employ services to scan for it. Local papers, social media ads, radio spots, everything.
Which brings us to the famous workaround. The phrase we hear on every car commercial and beer ad that isn't an official sponsor.
The big game.
It's such a funny little linguistic dance, isn't it? We all know exactly what it means. It's a wink to the audience. We can't say the name, but you know what we mean.
It is a wink. But legally, it's a very calculated move. It relies on a broad concept called nominative fair use. You're identifying the event without using the protected mark.
But there's a catch.
There is. And the source is really specific on this. You can't just slap the big game on something and assume you're bulletproof.
Right, because you can still screw it up by implying a connection.
Exactly. If you say, join us for the big game, but right next to that text, you use the official logo, or the team names, or the NFL shield, you've crossed the line.
Why? What's the legal term for that?
You're creating consumer confusion.
Consumer confusion, that's the standard.
That's the standard. The court asks, would a reasonable person look at your pizza ad and think, oh, the NFL must have partnered with this pizza place? If the answer is yes, you're liable.
It really is a tightrope then. You have to signal to the customer, I'm relevant to your interests this Sunday, without stealing the identity of the event.
You have to be culturally present, but legally distant. It's a nightmare for marketing departments. I mean, I've been in those meetings.
Oh, I bet.
The creative team wants to get as close to the line as they possibly can because that's what sells, and the legal team is trying to pull them back 10 feet because that's what keeps them out of court.
It must get so granular, like, can we use a football?
Yes.
Can we use a football that looks exactly like the official one?
Absolutely not. Or can we use the team colors? Maybe, but don't put them in a pattern that looks exactly like the jersey. It gets down to that level. You're trying to evoke the feeling of the game without using the property of the game.
Okay, so that's the name. You can't say it if you're selling something. Now let's pivot to the thing we're all actually watching, the broadcast itself.
So now we move from trademark law into copyright law.
Right. So the game starts, we're watching the feed. Fox, CBS, whoever has the rights this year. That video signal, the camera angles, the commentary, the graphics, that is all copyrighted material.
Lockdown. And the key concept here is what's called the public performance right.
Oh, okay. Break that down for us, because I invite people over to my house to watch movies all the time, and I don't pay a fee for that.
Sure. And when you subscribe to cable or a streaming service, you're granted a license for private viewing. You, on your couch with your friends and family, that's fine. That's private. But copyright owners have the exclusive right to control public performances of their work.
So a bar showing the game, that's a public performance.
That is. And that's where the misconception is. People think, well, I pay for the cable box, I can put it in my bar. No, that box is licensed for residential use. Bars and restaurants have to enter into commercial licensing agreements to show that broadcast legally.
And those are probably based on how big the place is.
Usually on fire code capacity, yeah. They're paying for the right to use the footage as a magnet for customers. They're selling beer because the game is on.
They're monetizing the broadcast.
Exactly. Without the game, the bar is half empty. So the NFL and the networks want their cut of that value.
Now, what about that home style exemption I've heard about? Is that a real thing?
It is, but it's very, very narrow. If you're a tiny shop, less than a certain square footage, and you're using a single normal-sized TV, you might get away with it.
But if you're a sports bar with a wall of 40 screens and surround sound?
Oh, you absolutely need a commercial license. No question.
Let's bring this to the modern era, though. Because the bar isn't really the biggest threat anymore. It's the streamer.
The Twitch streamer, the YouTuber, the person on TikTok.
Right. So I'm watching the game. The quarterback throws an incredible Hail Mary. My first instinct is to grab my phone, hit go live on Instagram, and point my camera at the TV to scream about it with my followers.
Don't do it.
That simple, huh?
Yeah. The source is explicit. Individual viewers need to be extremely cautious. That broadcast is not yours to redistribute.
But when I'm live streaming the screen, I'm not just showing the game, I'm reacting to it. I'm adding my commentary. Isn't that fair use?
It's a gray area, but probably not.
Yeah.
Commentary is one part of fair use, yes. But if your stream is basically just the game with your head in the corner, you're acting as a substitute for the official broadcast.
So the question is, can someone watch my stream instead of the real one?
Exactly. And if they can, it's not transformative enough. And the enforcement on this is automated now. It's not some lawyer watching your stream.
Right, it's the algorithms.
It's Content ID algorithms. They fingerprint the audio and the video of the game in real time. If your stream matches that fingerprint, even for a few seconds, the platform kills your stream instantly.
It's wild how fast that is now. The screen just goes black mid-sentence.
It has to be fast.
Yes.
The value of a live sporting event is perishable. They have to stop the leak while the game is actually happening to protect their ratings.
So if you want to do a watch party stream, what's the safe way?
Film your face. Keep the TV audio really low or off. Describe the action, look excited, scream at your own camera, but do not show the screen.
Got it. Okay, moving on to the spectacle within the spectacle, the halftime show.
The IP hotspot.
Why does the source call it a hotspot? Is it just because it's so popular?
It's because the density of writes per second is just off the charts. I mean, think about what you're actually looking at on that stage.
Okay, so you've got the singer, a massive stage setup, hundreds of dancers.
Okay, let's break it down legally. The song itself. That's 2 copyrights right there. The underlying musical composition, the notes and lyrics, and the specific sound recording being played, the singer's performance. That involves publicity rights, their likeness, the dancers.
What about the dancers? Is it just dancing?
Choreography.
Wait, you can copyright a dance move?
You can copyright a choreographic work, not a simple step like a fist pump, but a complex, designed routine. Absolutely. We've seen lawsuits about this with video games like Fortnite using dances.
Wow. So the halftime show is this layer cake of IP.
And we're not done. The stage design can be copyrighted as an architectural work. The costumes can have design protections.
So here's the trap then. A brand sees a viral moment from the show. Let's say we have another Left Shark moment. You remember the shark that couldn't dance?
Hard to forget that one.
Everyone is making memes. A brand decides, hey, let's tweet a GIF of that shark with our logo on it, get some engagement.
That is incredibly risky.
But everybody else is doing it. My friends are all tweeting it.
And that's the everyone else is doing it defense, which does not hold up in court. The NFL and the artists, they negotiate these incredibly complex licenses for that one performance. Those rights do not extend to third-party brands.
And a brand's tweet is a commercial purpose.
It's a commercial purpose. So you are infringing on potentially 5 or 6 different rights holders all at once.
So just because it's on national TV, that does not mean it's in the public domain.
Not even close. It's probably the most legally locked down 12 minutes of video in existence.
That actually leads perfectly into the commercials themselves, because the ads are also a minefield, specifically with the people in them.
Now we're talking about publicity rights.
Right. And this isn't just about paying an actor. It's about the idea that a celebrity or an athlete owns their own face.
They own their persona. It's actually broader than just their face.
How broad?
Well, the source talks about implied endorsement. This is where it gets really tricky. Obviously, you can't just put Patrick Mahomes on your cereal box without paying him millions.
Of course.
But you also can't hire a guy who looks like Patrick Mahomes, put him in a red jersey, and have him throw a no-look pass while holding your cereal.
Even if you never say his name.
Even if you never say his name. If the public identifies that person as the celebrity, and you're using that recognition to sell a product, you are violating their right of publicity.
That's basically identity theft for profit.
It's essentially what it is. And the Players Association, the NFLPA, they monitor this stuff very, very closely.
This connects to a term from the source material that I love, ambush marketing. It sounds so military.
It is. It's strategic warfare. Ambush marketing is when a brand tries to associate itself with the Super Bowl without paying the massive sponsorship fee.
So sneaking into the party without a ticket.
Exactly. The official sponsors, Pepsi, Bud Light, Verizon, they pay tens of millions of dollars for that exclusivity. They are the only beer, the only wireless carrier allowed to use the trademarks.
So if you're a competitor, you're just shut out. You can't buy an ad slot that even mentions the game.
You're shut out of the official marks. So you try to ambush the event. You create an ad that feels like football. You use generic jerseys. You use phrases like the big matchup. You try to capture the halo effect of the event without cutting the check.
I can't imagine the official sponsors are very happy about that.
They're furious. Because if ambush marketing works too well, the value of their official sponsorship drops. Why would I pay $50 million if I get the same attention for free with a clever generic ad?
So the NFL has a duty to protect its paying customers by stopping the ambushers.
Correct. They send out guidelines to broadcasters and media outlets warning them not to accept ads that engage in these kinds of ambush tactics. It's a constant cat-and-mouse game.
Where's the line then? Can you just not reference football at all in February?
No, you can reference the sport. No one owns the concept of football, but you can't reference the event. So if your ad says stock up for Sunday, that's probably okay.
Okay.
If it says stock up for the championship, you're getting warmer. If it says stock up for the big game in New Orleans, you might be in trouble.
It all comes back to that likelihood of confusion.
That is the golden rule.
So I want to zoom out a little bit. We've talked a lot about restrictions, but the source also mentions strategic IP planning. This isn't just about playing defense, it's about playing offense too.
Right. Think about the cost of one of these ads. For 2026, what are we looking at? $7–8 million for 30 seconds?
Something insane like that, plus the cost to actually make the ad.
So how do you justify that ROI? You can't just hope people buy enough chips on Monday to cover an $8 million spend. You have to create an asset.
Do you mean the ad itself becomes the asset?
Exactly. If you create a character, like the E-Trade Baby or the Budweiser Frogs from way back when, that character is intellectual property. You trademark the catchphrase. You copyright the design.
So the Super Bowl ad is just the launch party for the IP.
That's it. You use the massive audience to establish the IP, and then you monetize that IP for the next 5 years. You put the character on T-shirts, you use them in social media, you license them out.
That completely changes the math. You aren't paying $8 million for 30 seconds. You're paying $8 million to seed a brand asset that could be worth hundreds of millions.
But only if you own it. If you didn't get all the rights cleared, or you didn't trademark the slogan, and a competitor swoops in and steals it, you just wasted all your money.
It's just fascinating. The whole event is a fortress built out of contracts.
A fortress of paper, yeah.
So let's bring this home for everyone listening. We've covered a lot of legal ground here. If we had to distill this into the absolute essentials, what are the key takeaways from this playbook?
I'd break it down into 4 pillars.
Okay, hit me.
Pillar 1, the name. Super Bowl is off limits for your business. Use the big game if you have to, but be careful not to mimic the official look and feel. Don't confuse the consumer.
Pillar 2.
The broadcast. It's copyrighted. If you're in a business, you need a commercial license. If you're a creator, keep the TV screen off your stream. Don't wake up the bots.
Pillar 3.
The content. Halftime shows, viral clips, they're all layers of different IP rights, music, choreography, likeness. Just because it's viral doesn't mean it's free to use for your brand.
And last part.
Ambush marketing versus sponsorship. If you aren't paying the NFL, don't pretend you are. And if you are paying for an ad, make sure you own the IP you create so you can use it forever.
The source ends with this really interesting quote. The Super Bowl may last only a few hours, but the intellectual property considerations surrounding it last all year.
That's the truth. The game is just the tip of the iceberg. The legal work is the massive chunk of ice under the water, keeping the whole thing afloat.
It really does change how you watch the game. You start to realize every camera angle, every logo placement, every song was cleared by a lawyer.
It takes some of the romance out of it, doesn't it?
A little bit. Which leads me to my final thought for you, the listener, and this is something to chew on while you're eating your guacamole.
What's that?
We've just described a system that is incredibly efficient at protecting value. It locks down every single dollar. But does it go too far?
In what sense?
Well, sports are supposed to be communal. They're about shared culture, right? If I can't stream my reaction, if my brand can't meme the halftime show, if my local bakery is scared to even put a sign in the window, does the aggressive protection eventually start to strangle the very community spirit that makes the event valuable in the first place?
That is the tension of modern IP. You want to own the game, but you also need the entire world to play along. If you sue the fans too much, eventually they might just stop watching.
A delicate balance for the billionaire owners to figure out.
Indeed.
That is it for this deep dive. Enjoy the game, watch out for the trademarks, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you then.